OutDaughtered's Hazel Busby is equal parts adorable, funny, and sassy. But even if you've seen every episode of the TLC series in which she stars, you may not know the full story on one of everyone's favorite quints. Here's the truth about little Hazel. Not only did the Busby family welcome 5 girls at once, the quints were born prematurely at just 28 weeks. Because of their precarious debut, the babies had to stay in the NICU at first, making the time that Danielle and Dad Adam got to spend with their quints that much more precious. And it seems as though Hazel wanted to take full advantage of her parents' attention once she busted out of the hospital. The quint was a total cuddlebug as a baby and just loved to be loved.
She is the sweetest one out of all of my quints.
As Danielle wrote in a post for the family's blog, It's a Buzzworld, Hazel was still a sucker for snuggles by the time she turned 1. Danielle posted, "She's still our little bit. Hazel is so sweet and loves to cuddle. She doesn't even have to be tired and she will fall asleep in your arms if you're just loving on her. She's a pretty happy baby." As fans know, Hazel was born with an eye condition called Nystagmus that causes her eyes to flutter. And when she was just 1 year old, she underwent surgery to correct the condition. But parents Adam and Danielle were obviously torn up about their tiny daughter undergoing a serious operation. Danielle said on the show, "It's scary thinking about Hazel going into eye surgery. There's risk involved with that. Hazel could even get an infection. She could lose her eyesight. This surgery fix is not even about her vision. It's more so to just correct the placement of where her eye goes to focus better so she doesn't have to turn her neck, which is a huge deal."
We don't want to have 4 little girls all doing one thing and then the other one, falling behind.
Fortunately for everyone, the surgery was a total success. As the Busby quints have gotten older, fans of OutDaughtered have enjoyed watching them grow into little young ladies. But when the rest of the quints started walking, Hazel wasn't exactly ready to follow suit. As Hazel was recovering from her surgery, Adam and Danielle took all 6 of their girls to a play gym, where it became obvious that Hazel was struggling. Danielle said, "She's looking straight, but maybe because of her condition, which is causing her eyes to flutter, so they move back and forth, she's still the only one who isn't walking yet, and it sucks. I don't want her to be left behind or not be able to hang with her sisters."
Yay, Hazel!
She's right on the verge.
Although it took a little longer than her sisters, Hazel soon took to walking like a pro. People might assume that the OutDaughtered quints do everything together all the time. But as far as Hazel is concerned, that isn't the case at all. Sure, she loves her sisters, but Hazel is famously known as the independent one, both at home and even at school.
You know you can't bring all those toys to school, right?
Yeah.
On the family blog, Danielle wrote about sending the quints off to their first day of school. It was a pretty big moment for everyone, and even though Danielle explained that she had to separate some of the quints so they would get to know other kids, she said that she wasn't really worried about Hazel. She posted, "Hazel is so independent and couldn't care less if her sisters are in the same room as her. She is super social and confident. She will do amazing meeting new friends." It would be understandable for a toddler to be anxious when it comes to wearing glasses. After all, when you want to run around all day, do cartwheels, or chase your sisters, glasses may not seem like the ideal accessory. But for Hazel, her glasses are just part of what makes her so unique, and she actually really loves them. In fact, when she turned 4, she needed to get a new pair of specs, and her reaction to them was just too cute. Danielle said on the show, "This is her first pair of fragile glasses. There's a lot riding on how she responds to them."
I like my new glasses.
When Hazel finally tried on her new frames, she instantly smiled, and her parents lit up almost as much as she did. Clearly, Hazel feels confident in her glasses, and she looks adorable too. There's a reason the second year of a child's life is called the terrible twos. Typically, 2-year-olds tend to act up, in a big way. And as they adjust to the world they live in, it's only natural for them to push their limits. But according to Danielle, Hazel spent the majority of her terrible twos in a very agitated state. Describing Hazel as typically sweet-spirited, Danielle blogged, "But don't let her fool you too much. She has a bit of a temper in her when she gets mad. She will scream loud like no other."
She's always had that bit of a temper.
But she doesn't.
We've always called it the redhead in her. And it's like, how did that come out of that little bitty tiny body?
Hazel's eye condition has been a serious plot point on the show. Fans have been riveted by her surgery and seemingly endless doctor appointments. It's safe to say that everyone wants the best for Hazel, but according to Adam and Danielle, there's no way to know what the future holds for their daughter. In a post for Nystagmus Awareness Day, the Busbys explain their experience with their daughter's condition, writing, "We have no idea how her condition will affect her later in life. We have heard it all, from being considered legally blind and not being able to drive a car, to just needing glasses and maybe struggling to focus, and everything in between."
Don't want to be here.
Danielle elaborated in an interview with Us Weekly, explaining, "It's something she was born with and she'll have it the remainder of her life. There's no official cure to it. It's inevitable that one day she'll have another surgery, and so we visit her eye doctors every couple months." Whatever lies ahead, Hazel's got her parents' loving support all along the way. When the Quints were babies, it was much more difficult to tell them apart, but as they've gotten older, they've grown into their own features, and it's easier for even casual fans to pick out each of the girls. But Hazel has always been easy to spot, since she's the only Quint with unique locks.
She's the easiest to tell apart of all of them because she just got red hair.
For a while, fans were a little confused about Hazel's hair, since neither Adam nor Danielle has auburn locks. But as it turns out, both parents carry the ginger gene. Adam revealed on Instagram, "We actually have family members on both sides with red hair." But Hazel's hair wasn't always red. Danielle wrote about the Quints a month after they were born, and red hair wasn't part of the equation. She blogged, "Her face is looking more and more like a baby, and she's so darn cute with her full head of blonde hair." While she may have the signature do in this family, Hazel certainly knows how to rock it. Adam and Danielle had some concerns when it took Hazel extra time to get the hang of her large motor skills, but there were no such worries about the Quints' cognitive ability. As fans saw on the show, Adam and Danielle visited their Quint school to learn how the girls did on their first school tests. The teacher explained that 40 is the average score they would want to see from kids of around the same age, but Hazel did much better than that.
She scored a 52. Hugely wonderful.
Wow.
Even though the girls' teacher went on to explain that Hazel might be struggling to notice differences in letters because of her eye condition, she still scored above average on her first school test. Anyone who has seen OutDaughtered knows that Hazel has a very special relationship with a certain family member, her Uncle Dale. Dale Mills is married to Danielle's sister Crystal and lives close to the Busbys, which means Uncle Dale and Hazel can hang out whenever they like. But their bond goes far beyond the occasional pizza party.
Hey, who's your best friend? That's right.
Hazel was the first Quint that the proud uncle got to hold in the NICU, and the connection between Hazel and her Uncle Dale is so palpable that fans have even given the duo an adorable nickname, Dazel. In an Instagram post, Dale shared the moment when he first held Hazel, writing, "And this is where Dazel all began. Buzz found this picture from the first time I visited the NICU."
She's cling to me, and I've always been close to her, so of course I would give her whatever she wants.
OutDaughtered's favorite uncle and little Hazel are practically besties, a bond that's sure to last for life. One of the best parts about watching the Quints grow up is seeing them discover their own talents and skills. And for Hazel, that just so happens to be science. In fact, she may even grow up to have a career in technology, engineering, or mathematics, according to Danielle. In a blog post in honor of the Quints' third birthday, Danielle explained that Hazel was developing a pretty specific skill set as she was getting older. She said, "Hazel is really smart, loves to focus on projects and understand how things work or go together. She is our little engineer scientist."
This is not gonna be hard.
That's pretty impressive that the then 3-year-old was able to work on projects and see things from such an analytical perspective. But when it comes to Hazel, it appears that just about anything is possible. Even though the Busby Quints are still very young, Hazel has already started developing big girl interests. And as it turns out, sweet little Hazel Basil may already be a little boy crazy. In a sit-down meeting with the Quints' teacher, Adam and Danielle learned that little Hazel had quite a reputation at school for being interested in boys. The teacher described Hazel's classroom seating strategy, adding, "She wants to make sure she's sitting next to a boy." And even her sisters knew the scoop. When a producer asked Hazel's sister Riley the question, "Who likes sitting next to boys at school?" Riley's immediate response was, of course, Hazel. Hazel herself even admitted to it to the producers on the show.
Who do you sit next to at school?
Yeah, boy.
It was the cutest moment, but of course, Dad Adam wasn't exactly thrilled.
Sweet, innocent little Hazel?
Something about those glasses.
Adam and Danielle describe Hazel as a total ray of light, full of joy and manners. But it appears that isn't always the case. On an episode of the show, it became clear that Hazel wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. In the midst of a family meeting about discipline, of all things, Hazel melted down when her dad told her she couldn't have any more candy. Hazel started crying, screaming, and even tried to hide the candy behind her back. Still, Adam and Danielle followed through on the discipline, sending her to her room. Later, though, they admitted they were surprised that Hazel was the one who acted out, saying, "The one child that usually follows all the rules, says please, thank you, the most polite child we have, chooses the night we're having a family meeting to choose to disobey."
I don't know. I'm like, why make me feel like the worst parent ever?
Hazel may typically be a well-behaved little girl, but that doesn't mean she's not a real kid who has a tough day once in a while. Hazel was born into challenging circumstances. At 2 pounds, she was the smallest of the quints, and she quickly began showing symptoms of her eye condition.
I was this big. I was a little tiny baby.
But through all of her struggles, she has remained a happy, joyful little kid. In a blog post for the Quint's 5th birthday, Danielle wrote a sweet message about her red-headed daughter, sharing, "We can just watch this little free spirit for hours and just laugh and smile at anything she does. Her head and heart are still so full of love and magic, LOL. Life in this little girl's eyes is just straight-up joy. She will make anyone and everyone fall in love with her instantly."
I'm Hazel. Got hair, don't care. I'm 5 years old.
Clearly, this little girl knows how to win over some hearts. She's giggled her way into millions of fans' lives and is proving she's here to stay. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more list videos about your favorite celebs are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.